In today's video, we're going to weave paper strips to create some backgrounds for the card fronts. When you're making cards, typically with the card base, you just cut the paper in half and you get 2 cards out of it, so you use up the whole sheet. But when it comes to putting the paper inside, you want the card to be 4 inches wide, card length 5.5, you want 5 1/4. And what that does is it leaves you with some leftover strips of paper. So I'm just going to mark this 4 inch and 4 inch. Oh, remember, the carpenter rule is measure twice, cut once. Because if you don't, you'll get a crooked line. If you only measure once, you have to cut twice. Now I am saving my blade because I'm a little frustrated with my cutter. I'm going to have an extra 1/2 inch strip left over. Now I want this to be 5 1/4 and 5 1/4, and I'm going to have a leftover 1/2 inch on this side. 5 1/4. You make 2 marks, then you line up your ruler, and I'm using an H pencil, actually a 2H pencil. It makes a very light line. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I have my pencil lines are really, really light. But see, I'm going to have an extra 1/2 inch strip here and a 1/2 inch strip here. And so what happens is you're going to have a whole collection of strips, 1/2 inch strips. And because we typically use a lot of white for the card insert, most of them are going to be white. So what do we do with all of these scraps? That is what I'm endeavoring to do. So this is what you have left. These pieces fit just perfectly, so that you have a nice little frame of the base color there. And so you'll be able to use them up in 4 cards, but then you have these leftover pieces that are just going to pile up and collect. So we need to find ways to use these strips. Since I have figured out that I prefer 1/4 inch strips as opposed to 1/2 inch, when I cut out my card inserts, I just go ahead and measure and mark 1/4 inch from my extra strips so that I have them already cut. And I cut those first, because when you're cutting something small, it is usually easier when you've got a big piece of paper that you can hold on to cut off the 2 ends. Then I cut these out. Weaving is a process of putting horizontal and vertical strips together to create a patterned new piece of paper. So you can create whatever pattern you choose. In this one, the whites are going horizontal and the blacks are going vertical. Here are some common weaves you might have seen in American woven baskets. The pattern will differ depending on the order of the color strips. You can have one order for your horizontal strips and another order for your vertical strips, but the weave is simply under 1, over 1, under 1, over 1, repeating that throughout the entire weave. In this pattern, my horizontal 1/4 inch strips are 2 white, 1 black, 1 white, 2 burgundy, 1 black, 2 burgundy, 1 white, 1 black, and 2 white. The vertical strips are just black and white, alternately leaving a space between. This helps form the black crosses in the pattern. I am also a basket maker, and after playing with these paper strips, I realized, this is a great way for basket makers to experiment with colors to create new patterns for basket weaving, and possibly to create a card as a reference to remember how to work the pattern. I actually looked at baskets to find patterns to copy. I used paper strips to glue the whole thing together after I squared it up, because sometimes things shift around, so you might have to put things back to square, and you can shift them around a little bit until you get them just where you want them. You can use 1/4 inch strips for that. Sometimes I use 1/2 inch strips, as in this example, which allows me to trim the border to the right size to fit the card, because in this pattern my horizontal strips were only 12 instead of a 13, which is the perfect amount. But I didn't want to add another white stripe, which it would throw off the balance of the pattern. The black line of crosses surrounded by burgundy is the center of this particular pattern. So I wanted the equal number of stripes above and below. The back side of the weave may look different than the front. You can decide to cut a window in your card base to show both sides if you choose. I did that with the blue and white pattern because I liked both sides of the weave. Now I will show you how to do the herringbone pattern, which is the same pattern used when caning a chair. Here's a rocking chair that I caned. I have a video on YouTube about that project if you're interested. I begin by lining up my horizontal strips, trying to keep them straight. Then I use washi tape to hold one end, taping it down to my work surface. Because I am right-handed, I would have preferred taping them on the left, but I didn't want to be reaching across the screen to hinder your view of the process, so I taped it on the right side for your benefit. White horizontally and red vertically. Now we're going to do the herringbone pattern. It's 1, 2, 3. We're going to start 1 over, and then we're going to go under 3, and then over 3, and then under 3. Oh, you stay in your place, will you? And over 3. So it's basically 3, 3, 3, 3. The starting point is what you have to get. The first 3 rows are going to start on over. Now this was 1 over. The next one has to be 2 over. 1, 2 over. And then we go under 3, over 3, under 3, and over the last ones. And we're going to put them right up against each other. You're going to see that it's going to make sort of a stair-step pattern. Okay, the first row was 1 over. The second started off with 2 over, so this one has to be 3 over. So it should make the stair-step pattern. So once we've done that first thing, then we go back to 3 under, 3 over, and 3 under. So it's going to be over a little bit on that last bit. Okay, so we've got the first 3 rows. We started our pattern. Now, these 3 rows were started over, so the next 3 rows have to start under. So we'll start with 1 again. Under 1, and then over 3, and then under 3, over 3, under 3. Our stair steps is continuing. These things are, the tape's not holding it straight. Okay, so the next one has to be under 2. So we go under 2, and then over 3, come on, and then under 3, and then over 3, and the last one's under. So over 1, this is just the starting. Over 2, over 3, under 1, under 2. So guess what the next one is? You got it. Under 3, over 3, and then under 3. It's 3, 3, and 3. Okay, so we have established the pattern. Now we're just going to repeat what we have done. The first 6 rows are going to be repeat, repeated for the next 6 rows. So we're going to go back to this. It's over. This is over. Over 1 and then under 3. Okay. Over 3, under 3, over 3. We got to keep our stair-step pattern going. Okay, over 2, just like this row, second row, and then under 3, over 3, under 3, and over the last ones. Now over 3, under 3, come on, stay on top, over 3, under 3, it's easier when you've got contrasting colors. When I was doing a chair, you just have to be good on your count, and you got to always check that it's got that zigzag sort of a pattern. Okay, these 3 rows are over, these 3 rows are under, these 3 rows are over. So now we go under 1, over 3, under 3, over 3, under 3. Okay, we went under 1, now we need to go under 2. Under 1, under 2, now under 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are under, so we have to start over 1. But under 3, sorry. And so there, that's how we establish that pattern. We just keep repeating. 3 rows over, under, over, under, over, under, etc. I have one more thing to show you that I did with scrap strips. I didn't want to do a new video on it, so I'm including it at the end of this video. You can choose variations of plain colored 1/2 inch strips whose colors coordinate together for a specific feeling, emotion, or mood, and then strategically placing large dies on top, you will have some beautiful and colorful card fronts. Use this as a card front. I have not made cards out of any of these yet. I'm just playing with strips. But see what these are just made with scrap leftovers. And you can do so many things. Oh yes, when I was doing this, when I pulled it off the die cut, all of the pieces were stuck to the cutter. And so I just took a piece of paper and put glue stick over it and then stuck it on and rubbed it and collected all of the pieces. And so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So I'm continuing to use up my strip scraps. I still have lots. I've been, cutting them down and then experimenting and trying different things. And I got a couple of videos made of different designs that I have made with my scrap scripts, because I'm endeavoring to use up my scraps and I'm having fun with color. I hope you got some inspiring ideas in this video. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. That helps my algorithms, and thank you for watching.